Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. Now, in this video, I've got something a little bit different from the usual SketchUp stuff. Today, I'm going to see if we can use AI to create textures within a SketchUp model. Now, I've made a little model here. It's a simple kind of house that I designed, and I've filled it with loads of items that you'd typically see in, a living room and a bedroom. And I'm going to see if I can use AI to generate all of our textures. If you're not familiar with AI models at the moment, there's currently two really popular ones. One's called DALL-E 2 and the other one's called MidJourney, and I think there are actually a few more. But today I'm going to be using MidJourney. Now, MidJourney is an amazing tool to create visuals. All you have to do is simply type in some prompts. So these will be like phrases and words, and this will then generate an image accordingly. Now, some of these images are really amazing. It's almost hard to believe that these have been generated by an AI model. You can see that some of them are completely photorealistic. So I thought it'd be a good idea to see if we can implement this into our design process, whether we're using SketchUp or Vray. Let's see if we can make some materials using this AI model. So initially what I'm going to do is probably just start from the exterior. I want to try and create a kind of wall texture. Maybe something kind of modern for the top area, so some corrugated texture potentially, but I'm going to keep it simple, I think, for the outside. And then we'll obviously work our way inside. I'm probably not going to find textures for every single detail, like these hobs or whatever. I'll probably just paint them a standard color or a standard material from Vray. But yeah, I think we could have some pretty good fun with this. I've also got all of these materials here that I'm going to need to create. But obviously, again, I might just use some simple colors for if it gets too complicated, because I don't think I'm going to need to generate a texture for a plug socket or an iPad. But who knows, let's see. So let's jump into MidJourney and start creating some of these textures. What's good about MidJourney is that when you sign up, you actually get to use it for free for, I think, about 20 image generations, which is pretty good. So I've actually used those up, and I'm now into a paid monthly version, which allows me 200 images, and it's only about $10 a month. So I thought it was worth it, even just for this video. So I'm not going to get into how to use MidJourney. I'm sure there's plenty of videos on YouTube on how to use MidJourney. I'm not going to show you exactly how to use it. It's pretty simple. You'll be able to find it anywhere. But I'll show you the process in which I go through to try and create some of these textures. Now, you can see some of my previous renditions. I've been trying to play with tie-dye at the moment. I wanted to create some kind of cool tie-dye visuals, but they haven't really come out as I wanted. And that's the thing about these AI models. You kind of, in your head, you'll have a preconceived idea of what you want to produce, but when you actually put it into the model, you'll get something completely different to kind of what you had in your mind, and sometimes it is actually better and more useful, to be honest. So the first thing I'm going to try and create is a brick texture. So you initially need to type in imagine. So that is the main prompt that will start your generation, and what I'm going to type in is probably just some really simple brick texture. And then I'm also going to put in seamless, and then I'm going to put, I want it high quality, so I'm probably going to put, let's just type in high quality. And maybe if I type in symmetrical, now let's just leave that first and see what it generates. Okay, so the first image has generated, and if I click on it, you can see we've got these 4 variations of what I've basically typed in. And what you can do now is you can either choose to upscale any of these images. So if there's one you really like, you can basically blow it up to a higher quality, and then you can save it, or you can create variations of the same image. So if we liked, for example, this one down here, but we want to see a few more variations, we will just tick, because it's the third quadrant, 1, 2, 3, we just click on V3, and that will generate 4 more versions of that texture. So at the moment, this top right one is the most symmetrical, and that one probably would work the best. You can see it's not really generated a clean brick texture, but it's done its kind of own thing, and I kind of like that. So I think that's the kind of route we're going to go down today. We're going to start just going with the flow in terms of the AI. I do really like this bottom left-hand one quite a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create some variations of that and see what we get. Okay, here are the variations of that image. They are pretty cool, but the thing is they're not symmetrical. And I know, like, if you map, say, this top right-hand corner, you would get this shadow, which won't map very well. So realistically, the best version is probably this top right one. So let's actually create some variations of this top right one, because it is actually a symmetrical image, which is important for creating textures. So I'm going to run that, and let's see what we get out of that. Okay, so that's just run, and I think we've got something here. I think probably the one we're going to use is, I think I like this top right one. These bottom ones are pretty cool, but I think they've kind of got a bit of shadow down here, which won't map very well. This top right one seems to be the most consistent in terms of color. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to upscale number 2, and that's going to give us a big image that I can then save and then use as our texture. Okay guys, we have our first texture. Look at this. Now, it's not what we wanted. It's not an exact brick texture, but it's pretty cool. It's almost like scales. I think we're going to use this. So now I've upscaled it. So I clicked that upscale button, this one, U2. I've actually got a high res image, and if I go to open original, it's even higher res. It seems to add a load more detail, which is really cool. There's still definitely some shading down here. So when that maps, it's probably not going to look completely seamless, but I think it's good enough. So I'm going to save that, and then I'll get it into our SketchUp model. So I'm back in our model here. So let's just create a new texture, and let's get that brick image that we just got. So let's go to house textures, brick 1, open, 100 by 100. The first AI texture. Boom. Right, let's get that scale right. So it's probably going to be about 1,000. Whoa, too big. 300, 400. About 500, I guess. Now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow myself to manipulate the colors a little bit, because it's hard to retroactively edit your AI generation. You actually can't do it. So if I wanted to now like add another prompt, say if I wanted it to be gray, I actually can't do that. You have to restart again. So that's the only problem with AI at the moment. But I do kind of like that. But I think I'm just going to turn it down a bit. So I'm going to turn the saturation down and maybe just lighten it up ever so slightly. Yeah, more like that. I mean, it's just a very odd texture, but I like it. Cool. So now I said I wanted to create a kind of corrugated texture for the top bit. So let's jump back into MidJourney and try and create that. So my prompts for this are going to be, let's go corrugated, cladding, and I think I want it kind of metal, and then we're going to put in seamless, and then should I put texture? Yeah, let's do texture, and again let's just type in high quality. Run that and see what we get. So our corrugated texture has finished its processing, and these are the results. Unfortunately, these are pretty grungy and they're not what I was thinking of. So I've just redone the prompts, and I put corrugated cladding, metal, silver, shiny, seamless, texture, high quality, and we've got these. Now these are pretty cool actually. I do like them quite a lot. I really like this bottom left hand one. I'm worried about the inconsistency and the kind of the shading, but maybe we'll get away with that if it's horizontal. So what we're going to do, I think we're going to create some more variations of that. So number 1, 2, 3. Let's get some variations of number 3 and see how they turn out. So here are the results. Oh, these are really cool actually. I really like the kind of swirliness of it. So what I'm going to do is I think I like this bottom right one the best actually, even though it's got quite a lot of shadow on it. I'm going to upscale it. So let's do upscale number 4. Boom. So I'm going to upscale that, save it, and then I'll bring it into our model. Here's our image. Let me save it now, and then let's get it into SketchUp. So new material, new image, cladding, open it up, bang, bang, bang. And what I'm going to do is going to make sure I'm actually put it just on the outside wall like that, and then we're going to have to scale it up quite a lot. It probably is about 1,000. Whoa, not sure about this anymore. Quite a heavy duty texture, isn't it? I mean, it almost looks like wood. Yeah, I don't know. Let me just put it around here as well. See how I feel. I mean, it's pretty mental. Let me lighten it up. Whoa, okay. Lighten it up, turn the saturation down a bit. Okay, that's a bit cooler. It's a very, this is AI textures for you. They are just weird. I don't know, maybe I'll change that as I go on, but I mean, that's the first kind of initial 2 entities done. I shouldn't have done the interior wall like that. Let me put the roofs back on, see what it looks like. I mean, it doesn't look too bad. I think what I'm going to do next is try and generate probably a wood texture for the doors, and probably the window kind of frames. I'll probably make them wood. So let's do that now. Okay, that's not correct. I think adding the word birch might have messed it up, because I think it's trying to almost recreate a tree. But you can see it's kind of tree-like. So let's just try run that again, except let's get rid of that birch. Maybe let's get rid of that birch term. Run that and see what happens. Okay, it still hasn't quite produced what I'm after, so I might just try just doing wood texture and seamless. Right, this AI stuff's giving me mad textures. I typed in planks, So I got some of these. I'm probably gonna, you know what, they're cool, I'm just gonna go with it. Let's let AI decide. I like this number 1, so let me just upscale that, and we're gonna use that for our door at least, and maybe our window frames. I'll see how it looks in a second, and I'll come back when I put it into our scene. Put the wood texture into the model, but it's just so intense. I mean, it's a cool texture, but I don't think I can use it for all of these items, like the roof. I just put it on there just to see what it looked like, but obviously it's a bit insane. So again, I'm probably just gonna adjust the lightness of it. Like, you know, that's way better. It's still a bit too crazy for my liking. I put it on the window frames as well. So you just hide this, you can see that. It's kind of cool. You get like a bit of wood on the interior of each of the window frames, which I think works quite well. But I don't know, I might adjust it moving forward. Right, I'm gonna just probably now make just quite a few materials and I'll put them in place. So instead of going through all the process, you will just kind of see me get further along with the model and show you what I've come up with. Yeah, so let's do that. Okay guys, it's a few days later and I pretty much finished the model. Now it was actually, yeah, a lot harder than I thought finding these textures and creating these textures. So let me just hide these roof bits. You can see we managed to make that wall texture. I mean, that worked pretty well. This wood hasn't worked very well, and that's where I found the most difficulty. It was creating textures that were flat and easily mappable. I always found that the textures that were produced are pretty aggressive in terms of their contrast and texture. There's not too many flat images, so I was trying really hard to create a concrete texture, a flat concrete texture anyway, and this was kind of my best result I got. And you can kind of see there's always like a bit of depth of field going on as well. It's never quite a flat image, and we obviously got these weird lines in between it as well. The flooring, yeah, it's also the kind of same story there. It was difficult to create just a simple texture of flooring. It would always add all these crazy details and stuff, but you know, when you desaturate it a bit and pull back, it doesn't look too bad. I think the best thing that we managed to create was this rug texture. So I just typed in Persian rug, and I think a few other prompts like texture, seamless, and I got this really cool Persian rug texture, so I'm actually really happy with that one. The fabric texture also took a bit of time to produce because it again wasn't giving me like a flat fabric image, so I ended up getting this one, which is actually pretty cool, but the way that this model is created, you can see the scales are all off, so that's not on me, that's kind of the person that made this model, and I could correct it, but it would take a bit of time and it's a bit fiddly, so I'm going to leave that. So for the kitchen, I just used some simple colours, and this was an actual texture I had. I didn't create this texture, so a little bit cheating there. And for upstairs, I realised it was just going to take too long to do all those textures, so I just brought back the existing textures that those items had. I did put a bit of art on the wall. So this is an image I generated earlier. So this was kind of like some cool artwork that I generated using MidJourney. And yeah, so the desk is the original desk along with the cupboard. But yeah, that's kind of it for the video. You can see how we can actually generate some pretty cool textures using the AI models. I'll probably show them on screen, all the textures that we did create and use in this model. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and this has been a little exploration into AI and design. I think I'm going to do a bit more of this coming up in future videos. I'm going to look at creating actual products and concepts using AI, which could be really interesting. So subscribe to the channel on YouTube here if you want to see more content like that. Also, if you'd like to learn more about SketchUp or Vray, I've got some amazing courses over on Skillshare. And if you use any of my links below to those courses, you will get 1 month free. So that means you can try out the course, see if you like it. And I've got courses there on all levels from beginner to intermediate, and they're really helpful and they've got great feedback so far. So I'd really appreciate if you check those out because it supports me as well. Yeah, so it's all good. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day. Peace.